So in less than 40 days from now, Quant is going to be hosting a social event, I suppose. I'm literally not joking. Quant recently announced how they're going to be hosting welcome drinks and canapes at Sibos in Miami, because Sibos is an event that Quant is planning to attend, right? And what Sibos actually stands for is Swift International Banking Operations Seminar. They're going to be attending that, which is going to be going on in Miami. But within that event, they're going to be hosting their own kind of social event, I suppose, where there will be drinks and canapes. Now, I first want to clarify though, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Nothing I say is financial advice, and this is just my personal perspective and review. But in case someone is wondering, what is a canape? It's basically, those bite-sized pieces that you see in some of those social events where it's like usually a small piece of bread, which is bite-sized, and then in the middle they put like a spread, sometimes like cheese or whatever, cream cheese, and then on top they put like salmon, like smoked salmon or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but that's just an example. And, who doesn't like food? I like it. And just think about a canape as being like a Costco free sample, but then a little bit more fancy. And basically, they're going to be hosting an event where there will be canapes and drinks. Now, this may seem a little bit trivial because they say, well, who really cares about that? Like, that's kind of ridiculous. Well, I don't really think about it that way. The reason why is because going to Sibos in Miami, that's already pretty impressive in terms of an accomplishment in and of itself, because apparently a lot of people are anticipating there's going to be around like 10,000 individuals, or maybe even more, that might be attending Sibos in Miami this year. So if we consider that, if a couple percent of those people do attend Quant's welcome drinks and canapes event, I suppose, I don't find it to be a bad thing, because that's going to give Quant a better opportunity to network, right? To get to know other people, which I think is, of course, awesome, because Quant is really, I would arguably say, obsessed over enterprise adoption. They have this desire, right, to have good enterprise adoption. So, of course, having an event that could help allow for that to happen, why would that be a bad thing? Quant already has a partnership historically with something called Oracle, right? I'm not joking. Ever heard of Oracle? It's very massive, right? And if we take a look at Quant, of course, naturally, because I don't think they would just stop there, it would only make more sense that they have events like this to help, expand their enterprise adoption. Now, keep in mind, this welcome drinks and canapes at Sibos in Miami, they say it's going to happen on Tuesday, September 29th, and it's going to be from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the Discover Exhibition Arena. Now, if we consider, though, Sibos in Miami, in and of itself, is actually going to happen from the 28th of September to the 1st of October. So they're doing it somewhere in between, right, in the 29th of September, which I don't find to be a bad thing. I think it's pretty cool. Now, people like to say, well, why do they need drinks and canapes, though, if the social event is so interesting? Well, they need to have those features to make it interesting, right? Because, having some canapes, I think, could allow for some of these people who are a part of massive teams and like an enterprise to go there and maybe learn more about Quant. Quant's not playing around. Yes, the price is still below $70, even though there's been a slight recovery of around almost 20% in the past week, so I won't complain about that. But again, Quant is still relatively speaking very low when compared to where it once was. But at the same time, it seems like the team is indifferent to what is going on in terms of the price charts. It seems like they're focused on actual partnerships, adoptions, and collaborations. It seems like that's their main focus and not really what's going on when it comes to the price charts, because the charts, that's going to be dependent on the overall market sentiment. It's not going to be dependent on what is Quant doing behind the scenes. What Quant does behind the scenes, like in terms of the partnerships, in terms of the collaborations, what that's going to help allow Quant to do is have a better long-term sort of, I think, fundamental position, right? In a sense where it's going to help their fundamentals for the long term. It's not focused on the price charts only. And if from that event, that social event that Quant's going to be having, if they could just have one more additional partnership as a result of that, or maybe another collaboration, that's already a massive victory in and of itself, because that's going to matter a lot, especially when it comes to a project like Quant. So we got to imagine what they're trying to do. And keep in mind, Gilbert Verdian, who is the CEO and founder of Quant, he's going to be at Sibos in Miami. And I'm assuming he's going to be at this event, this social event, I'm assuming. So this is pretty impressive. And when it comes to the Quant network, it's often overlooked, in my opinion, because a lot of people don't really know what it does or what it is even. We have to take this into consideration. The Quant network is made up of the Overledger OS and the Overledger network. The Overledger network is made up of the Overledger OS users, but what the Overledger OS allows individuals to do is to actually create something called a multi-chain application. So it's an application that is built on top of multiple blockchains and not only just one. The reason why this is pretty revolutionary, arguably, is because developers, for instance, no longer have to be stuck building on only just one blockchain. So inherently, Quant is already helping, right, for developers to have a better way to actually build apps. I find that quite impressive, and not to mention, Quant recently launched Fusion Rollup, which arguably through that, they're very focused on interoperability. Basically, connecting blockchains together, arguably, I would say. So Quant's been doing things. It's not like they haven't been doing nothing. And keep in mind, people like to say, well, Sibos in Miami, what does Quant know about the global trade and finance market? Because again, need I remind people, Sibos stands for Swift International Banking Operations Seminar. So they say, well, there's Swift there. What does Quant know about this? Well, keep in mind, not only will the event this year have an aspect of AI, which again, some people like to say, well, what does Quant know about that? But arguably, I think that through the Overledger OS, a lot of these AI developers could find some use out of Quant. But besides that, people again like to sometimes wonder, what does Quant know about the global trade and finance space? Need I remind people, Quant has an aspect of ISO 20022. Who has also an aspect of that? Stellar and Ripple. But Quant has that too. So when people like to say, oh, Quant has no aspect of global trade and finance, well, really? It has an aspect of ISO 20022. That is currently, by the way, in the case of ISO 20022, that is currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for something called inter-organizational data exchange. So we gotta let that sink in. Quant has an aspect of that. So it's not like they're completely clueless when it comes to that niche. But I digress. Quant, as of right now, being at around $65, to me, at this point, if it could just go back to around $140, which we saw back in December of 2024, I get it. It's only over 2 times away slightly. It's not even like 3 times away. But besides that, the reason why if it could go back there, I have nothing to complain about, is because I'm not trying to become the next Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos. I'm just not. So that would already actually make me happy, considering how, again, we're at $65 and back in December of 2024, it was at around $140. So again, we're over 2 times away from that. I won't complain about that, basically. That's just my mindset. Now, some people out there might not care about that movement, but to me, I'm already quite happy. But I digress. Besides that point, Quant's all-time high, need I remind people, is actually $428 approximately. So clearly, we're around over 6 times away from that. Now, I get it. People like to say, but, Quant's never going to go back there. I mean, it's reached that before, but regardless, I don't need Quant to ever go back there. If it just goes back to December 2024, I really have nothing to complain about. But that's just my mindset as of right now. With this almost 20% recovery over the past 7 days, I'm not going to say it's the best recovery, but I'm not going to complain about it. But nonetheless, the journey when it comes to Quant still seems quite far, comparatively speaking, till even last year and also the year before. So I'm just still waiting, even though I don't have to, but that's just personally what's going on with me as of right now. But I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward when it comes to Quant. So yeah, hopefully I'll stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you so much for watching.